Hey guys, today here's the gear. We've got a Declaration Grooming brush over here. This is the B13 batch. We have a razor and it is a vintage Gillette. It is a new, all caps, and it is the short comb variant. Talk more about that later. The Cooper and French is the next soap in the list. We're getting down toward the bottom of those 20 or so soaps that a month or two or three ago I put out for voting for you guys. What did you want to see? Because my nose was COVID for a while there, and I don't know, I'm probably back to 90%, maybe 80, maybe 90. At this point, it's hard to tell. I think there are still some scents that I'm not picking up on, some certain notes, but I think pretty much I'm able to smell stuff back again. So, and that's timely because we only have a few more soaps in this little series to work through. Cooper and French has some cool things like Fair Isle Harbor, and they offer bundle deals if you go on their website, or at least they used to. I've been watching their website for sales and stuff, a couple years ago, and they do offer the sales. And I have tried their soap maybe once or twice, not very often. Let's finish talking about the gear. Today, Astra Superior Platinum, and this is the inked version. So far, it seems like the blades between the inked version and the etched one are either identical or similar enough not to matter too much, or maybe even the etched one with the lasers, laser etching. Maybe that one is actually better. I think that's good news. I don't think that the laser etched or the newer model is one that is uh, not desirable. And that's good. That's what we want, right? If it's either the same or better, that's what we want. Because the Astra is a blade that I've just enjoyed in many capacities for a while now, as a kind of a Swiss Army blade, very functional in a great number of razors. And when I say functional, I also mean enjoyable and sharp and smooth, that sort of thing. At least, of course, that's how I'm experiencing the Astras. I gave this head a good washing. It had a little bit of kind of green grime and stuff around it. So this is the short comb head. Now, when you think of the new um, line of Gillette vintage razors, the short comb and the long comb come to mind, of course, because they're the main part of that line. And then you think, well, short comb, long comb. Well, that's really the difference, is the length of the comb. And sure enough, we have the two plates right here, pretty much look identical from the bottom, and with this kind of speed bump running down the middle. And that's how you can tell it's different from a new Deluxe, for instance. The Deluxe is flat here. It doesn't have that speed bump running down the middle. And then when you turn them over, you see immediate difference in the plating, in the base plates. This one has this kind of arcing, smooth. There's no beveling really. And it's not multi-beveled. It's just kind of one arc. And look how close it comes down to the blade edge, the comb here. This bevel comes so very close to the edge. Well, the other one's different. It doesn't come as close. You got a stair step effect here. Does this one have more gap, more blade gap? That's a good question. I didn't experience any blade chatter with this model, so it does come close enough, and other factors are probably at play that are holding that blade firmly. I definitely wasn't griping about any chatter as I was using it. No, kind of a tenuous feel as maybe the blade was moving across my skin, and so this one's got to be even better, right? I mean, it goes so far close to the edge, and so that's where it really differs. And so as you can see, it's more than just the length of the comb. See, here's the long comb over here, and you can definitely see how the little combs come down another few millimeters. And over here, they do go straight out, but then they do curl a little bit and go down. But they don't go down nearly as much as the long comb. But we've got differences in the base plate too. And so I was hypothesizing when I first noticed this a shave or three ago that maybe they varied the comb length to tell the difference easily between these two base plate designs. And so maybe the comb length doesn't really matter at all to the shave. Maybe it's these base plate designs. Because after all, this comb here, you're not really going to usually shave with the razor almost parallel to your skin. And that's the only time that these combs are really going to come into play, at least the extended tips here. And so that's why I don't really think that is making a difference. And I bet they did that on purpose because, you don't want people wondering what the difference is. And by giving them the long comb versus the short comb, it's very easy to tell. And it just happens to be that the comb isn't really the main factor. This one also has cutaways, and so when the razor is assembled, you can definitely see this one has these cutaways to make it slimmer. This one doesn't have any cutaways at all. And so we will put the Inked Astra blade in the razor we're going to use today. The short comb, I'm so curious as to any difference. I need to get a feeler gauge set because every once in a while it is nice to know the gaps and stuff. Okay, so that's there. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the etched version just to look at the gaps. I just needed a blade, and I had, since I'm comparing these two blades, I have this one on hand. This one I'm going to load in the cap because that's the way I usually actually like to do it. Okay, and what we'll do is just visually look at the difference between the gaps, and obviously a razor gap can change by a minuscule amount and make a massive difference to the feel on your face. Amount that you're not going to be able to detect with the human eye. And so this is not any kind of conclusive test, right? But if I hold them up, okay, it does, the long comb looks like it has a bigger gap. Just a guess, but it's really close. It looks like it might have a bigger gap. So I could be looking at a smoother shave with this guy because of the gap, but also because of maybe the firmer hold on the blade. So we'll see. All right, we'll put him down and he'll be the one I use. I'm going to pause you while I disassemble this and put the blade back. So this is a goat milk shaving soap. The ingredients, the first ones are potassium stearate, goat milk, water, and then we get to the coconut oil, potassium tallowate. So it is a tallow soap. And at least not a huge tallow soap, but it's got some tallow in there. Now, one interesting thing, and I like this, about the instructions on the back, it says, for best results, load a wet shaving brush with soap for several seconds. Add small amounts of water as needed while lathering. Now, see, that flies in the face of one of the current trends among some to load heavy for like a minute, go crazy with it, load it like you hate it, is a common phrase. So what I'm going to, and this is Old Goat, and it smells like Old Spice. It's designed to kind of duplicate Old Spice a little bit. And sure enough, it's really close. I like Old Spice, so I'm a fan of this. So I'm going to shake out much of the water from this brush. And then it hasn't been used in years. So let's go with like a 45-second load just to be on the safe side. And I'm going to tilt you down so that we can just kind of watch and see what happens to it. 45, oh, it's nice and easy. On the 15 mark, I will start, and so I can go to the 60s mark. Soap has shrunk since I took a look at it last. I remember decent things about the soap. I don't remember it being not enjoyable or not slick enough, that kind of thing. I know that Michael Friedberg has reviewed Fair Isle Harbor. Yeah, look, we've got the suds coming up here, so we're not going to need to pause and add any water, it looks like. 5 more seconds. we go. Well, most of the time this is going to be tons of soap, and so we'll see how that ends up. Goat's milk. I think I remember Michael saying that the Fair Isle Harbor scent was kind of mild, maybe. But this one I can smell pretty good from the tub. I don't expect it to be a mild scent, but you know, they do dilute once you convert them from here into the lather. Now, another thing you'll notice, we've got steel tin, and so it is going to be reusable or recyclable, that sort of thing. Potentially less impact on the environment, but they do tend to, you know, if you travel roughly, then you can kind of bang them up, or if you drop them, then you're going to have a tin that is a little strange. But I think back several years ago, that's just the way all of the soaps were, right? All right. I bet I have lathered plenty of soap here. Immediately, I have the scent jumping up to my nose. So that's good that, number one, that I can smell it. And number two, it means it's probably going to be a nice, enjoyable, strong scent. And this is a soap that's sat around. And so to have it preserve that scent so well, the strength of it is a good thing to me. Okay, yeah, the razor's loaded up with the inked blade. Got my 40 milliliters of water. Are we going to add all the 40? I am most certainly sure we are not, but that's just kind of what I'm going to subtract from at the end of the shave to know how much I did use. Feeling kind of heavy and pasty at first, so I didn't mind adding a good amount of water. That wasn't just a few drops, was it? Now I'm sure that that load for several seconds rule that they instruction that they put in, while I think I could have overloaded for sure with the 45 seconds, you know, 30 seconds is my kind of my normal standard amount, and that still is longer than they mention on their thing. I wonder if they have something configured in their soap to make it load real easy. But one thing I have noticed with, I mean, everybody from Sterling to Chiseled Face to Fine to Martin de Condre, if you use a soap consecutively, that moisture momentum is going to be kind of in your soap, and so then it really won't take very much loading. Several seconds really is all you need to do to get enough lather in your brush. Well, it's a wonderful looking lather so far. And we've got about 20 milliliters into it with mini crops. 20 is kind of an average that I might, 20 or 22 is often an average for how much water I end up adding. So we'll just give this a good bit of mix time and see what we've got. Now this brush is going to feel kind of small. The two most recent shaves I've done have been with this Thader that's 35 millimeters, and it's got a lot of loft, and man, that thing is a big blooming brush. The way the lather here is kind of moving out of my way and kind of wet and liquidy, I may have taken this a little too wet. That's all right. You can always go back to the tub. And I mean, I have enough for, I think, 3 passes, but you know, even if I went back and beefed it up with a little bit of soap from the tub, I don't really think I'd be doing it and getting too much lather. So that's good. It's not a waste, I think. 1.5 days of growth is what we're going to be working on today. Just too tired to shave last night. And it's firming up now that I'm giving it a little bit of work here. Nice long tips here. Look at the flexibility. So I think we might have, maybe we hit the mark. So we'll see what it's like on my face. And that'll, of course, be the proof in the pudding. Get my face wet, a little bit wet one more time. I'll shave with this soap again tomorrow because I'll be using the Astra, the laser etched version, and I want to keep everything similar. And from the way it smells right now, I'm going to enjoy it because it's a really nice Old Spice type scent. Oh, I might have hit it just right. It might be a little on the wet side of perfect, but that's easily corrected with kind of just drying my face after my next rinse so that my face kind of sucks a little of the water out of the lather, or at least doesn't add any more to it, you know. You can also, if you've got time, oh man, yeah, look at all this lather. So it doesn't fling off and get wasted. I've got plenty on my face already, so I'm going to get rid of some of the side lather here. You can, if you have a lot of time, you can actually, if you have a lather that's just a little bit too wet, what you can do, just keep working it on your face, and due to evaporation, your lather will very slowly lose moisture and get thicker on you. Oh yeah, see, this is getting it into a nice lathery emulsion here. I think we're ready to go. And so yeah, look at this. I cleared away that a minute ago and it kind of is regenerating. Looks like if I wanted to have added a little bit more water to this and spent a little bit more time mixing it up, then it would have held together just fine. You clear away the goatee extra, and look at that texturing. See, that could take more water if I wanted to, if I felt like it. At least feels that way. Speaking of feels, let's see how the lather feels to the fingers. It's a thin slickness, yeah, kind of a soapy, milky slickness. Creamy, a nice little light creamy feel. The slickness is staying resident as I pass my thumb over my fingers and I come back. It's not being swept away. You know, it's staying kind of attached to my skin. That's a good thing. You want that. So positive, good things here so far. As I rinse right now in the lather bowl, in the water kind of rinse bowl. It's taken me a second to get that slickness off my skin to rinse the lather off. That's a good sign. Probably means I'm going to have a nice protected shave here. All right. So I'm not going to do that shortcut after all, the shortcut about drying my face afterwards, because as we've seen, the lather has proceeded a little bit farther down the line. I don't know if it makes a difference to kind of get your razor wet before each pass, you know, but I don't know. I just kind of do it anyway. Now let's see if this guy he's moving through the hair very easily. And this is, I think, maybe the 9th or 10th shave. So some guys by this point would have pitched the blade, but it is cutting easily. Years ago, I moved to this type of razor because I got tired of the cartridges or the multi-blade razors clogging. I didn't enjoy shaving back then, and so often I would be shaving 3 days of growth. If I was shaving more than 1 day of growth off, then those blades are so close together so often that it would just clog up the razor. And it was so frustrating to try to unclog it in the middle of your shave. And I thought, well, here, look at this thing in Walmart. It has 1 blade, so that can't clog. And I enjoyed it so much that I almost never have the problem of clogging because, or the need to go for more than 1 day because I enjoy shaving so much. So very nice there. The rinse It wasn't super luxurious, but it was very nice and creamy. Often that is really what I expect after the first pass because of the oils in my skin kind of battling the lather. Hey, just now I had to take a call, and 4 minutes, 5 minutes call maybe, and I still have some kind of wet residual slickness on my face, and that speaks very well. I like that fact about it. That's very cool. Okay, so I have a little bit of wetness on my face now, and let's go ahead and put, okay, let's take a look at the lather now. Oh man, that looks awesome. Oh, that's good. That looks good, but looks aren't everything, right? But so far, I'm really liking this soap base. I mean, I don't care if it has goat's milk or yak's milk or cat milk, as long as it works. Feels very good with this brush. Feels good on the face. All right, now here's the ultimate test of kind of the slickness. We've removed the oils from my face. Of course, we don't have any blade chatter here. The razor is moving easily, and because of that base plate, you're just not going to get blade chatter. You've got really good tight support on it, and I didn't know that until recently. I kind of used this razor and then kind of put it away earlier in my shaving journey because at the time it had a little too much exposure for me to be able to use it with skill and use it with comfort. And that was my fault, my technique issue. Now, here's the catch. The long comb was pretty comfortable at this point after the second pass. And so I could, if I were using the long comb as a regular razor, I could just do 2 passes, perhaps. I really do believe the shave I've gotten is very nice. So I could probably do that if I wanted, but we're going to do a fair comparison. We're going to see how it feels when doing that extra little bit of shaving during the 3rd pass. That was really good. The rinses are very enjoyable, luxurious, kind of in feel. This is a good soap base, and this is an old one. I mean, maybe they haven't changed their soap base, but this has been a couple of years ago, right? So they may have, but this is a very, very nice soap base. I'm enjoying the slickness. They're, because I guess maybe because they're using milk. It's not butters, there's not butters and oils in here to kind of slow down your razor. Those do nice to moisturize your skin, of course, but man, whatever's in here is doing the job. I'm enjoying the kind of slickness I'm experiencing. I've got it very hydrated. You saw how the lather was acting. And the scent is really, if you're an Old Spice fan, this is a great small company to support. Really, this is nice. Let me finish my thought. I had a bunch of water. I've got a bunch of water in it, but it's still kind of having a light, creamy texture. It feels really nice and luxurious on the face. I'd put this right up there with some of my favorites, some of my favorite, not super premium, but really, close enough to the Barrister and Mann's, and I probably like it better than Milk Steak, actually. But I'm not a super fan of Milk Steak in the first place, but I like Barrister and Mann, and, Noble Otter, and just, the fine accoutrements. Who else is amazing? And this really comes close to competing with those guys. And to me, the performance difference, the experience difference is kind of minimal. And so, because it's like when you are a motorcycle fan and you subscribe to those motorcycle magazines, they're always doing those crotch rocket comparisons, right? And I used to ride a lot. I don't have a bike anymore. But they'd compare the Honda, the Yamaha, the Kawasaki, and the Suzuki. have a big old shootout. They'd call it a shootout, and I'm not a Harley guy, but I like Hondas, and any of those Japanese bikes are very reliable, and that's what matters to me the most is the reliability for my money. And but the core thing I'm trying to convey is that they would argue over the whole point of the article. The shootout was ended up to be just talking nuances. The fact is, anybody jumps on any four of those bikes, whether it's a 600cc or a 1000cc super bike or whatever, and you're going to have a lot of fun. The Honda at the time, back in the 90s and stuff, the Hondas were known for being more balanced. So sometimes because of that, you could actually ride them faster because you had more control. The Kawasaki's were known for just hitting really hard, but being a little wild and a little harder to control. So it just depends on what kind of thing you want, you know. But in the end, anybody jumps on any of them, and you're going to have a great time. And so it's tiny nuances that are the differences. And so that's what we're talking about between right here, this Cooper and French with Sterling and Barrister and Mann and all those other guys I was talking about. We're talking about nuances here. All right. I'm enjoying the slickness here. It was top notch. I don't have as much irritation as I did with the long comb. So it looks like this guy is a little easier based on this kind of short test. This guy is easier on my skin, less aggressive than the long comb. And I kind of expected it to be the other way around. I was just guessing, you know. You think if it's got more comb, then maybe that's more buffer between you and the blade. But I think in this case, the short comb is more guarded, is more has less exposure, perhaps. Definitely has closer blade clamping. I've got no irritation, no built up irritation that kind of surfaces only at the end of the shave. And this is after 3 passes, of course. Got none of that. Let's do a rinse. Luxurious rinse here, just a wonderful putting the water on, and even now the secondary slickness is there. It's feeling great. My first thought as I was rinsing, the big thought that was going through my mind was, this soap doesn't need to be put in a corner. You Dirty Dancing guys where your wife or your girlfriend used to make you watch Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Well, this is baby right here. This is a, wow. Hey, and I've got Old Spice. Let's, I'm going to see my family tonight. They don't like Old Spice. Dang it. Okay. Something spicy. Let's use Sterling Gentleman. Is kind of in the right family, but it's, how about just a straight Sandalwood? I think that'll be in the right family. And I don't think its scent is strong enough to bother anybody. This is Lather and Wood. Man, it might be time to throw this thing away. It's kind of popping and air is shooting out, and then all of a sudden you can hear it kind of popping. Did I finally use it all up? No, there's still plenty in there. Might have to see if I can untwist the cap and just kind of dip in there. It's got a nice, pretty authentic sandalwood scent. I got it from Amazon years and years ago. Might be time to retire this guy if his little dispenser his little pump doesn't work very well. Yep. All right. Well, I tried to use him up as much as I could before he went bad. You know, balms don't last forever. Oh, there we go. I slung the balm down into the bottom of the jar so the little feeder tube was able to pick it up. I guess it continues to live. Just a nice kind of easy woody sandalwood. There we go. All right. So, this soap, number one, thought is, this guy does not need to be put in my miscellaneous drawer and only pulled out once a year. When a little company like that puts out such a nice product that fits my needs, it seemed to have some kind of skin nourishing goodies as well as that performance slickness that I like. Sometimes the newer bases can sacrifice the performance that I like in order to give those oils and butters and skin goodies, but not in this case. It's a nice balance. Just terrific. And this is a nice Old Spice scent. So the first thing that comes to my mind is don't put this guy back away. Keep him out. Use him on a more regular basis. Second thing comes to my mind is let's jump on their website. Is there a scent that is more intriguing than kind of an Old Spice scent that I might want to use more often, So that's the second thing to come to mind. So big, wonderful, positive feelings toward the Cooper and French soap base. And this is from a while back. This is before. This is almost the kind of, we've got some soap bases, the contemporary ones right now that have been released in the past year or two. And they've achieved what this guy already achieved, 5 years ago, is kind of the feeling I'm getting here. Well, the 45 seconds, wasted a little bit of soap. I like to have some extra. I got a feeling that this is kind of, 2 or 3 passes if I wanted it to be. And I usually don't like to waste quite that much. But again, we were just coming off of a long period where it wasn't used. I'm really looking forward to using it again tomorrow. And it just goes to show you, look, there's some bubbling in there, some little micro bubbles. Some soaps that matters a lot, but not in this one and not in several of the ones that I really enjoy. You can still have that kind of bubbling and have it be a luxurious, wonderful experience. So, wow, hats off to Mr. Cooper and Mr. French. Terrific. Now, how much water did I use? Yep, just the 21 milliliters. And anything else to report? About the razor. The short comb seems to be less aggressive than the long comb. Now, you might be able to look online and find some people with the opposite opinion. I might do that search someday and see. But how about that? And the great news that I've been telling you guys about these news, they can be had for a song. Now, sure, if you find one that somebody is selling, especially if it's in good shape, then they might be asking $25 for it. Now, if they're asking $50, then obviously they have no idea, especially, unless it's pristine. If they're asking $50, then they just, they think it's old, and so then therefore it's worth a ton of money. And there are just so many of them made that's why you shouldn't charge $50 for one of these guys. By itself, I don't think I'd mind paying $15 for it if I knew that this is the razor for me. Paying $15 for a razor that will last longer than your lifetime because it has already lasted longer than your lifetime, probably, is a bargain, right? But I've also seen plenty of eBay lots where this razor was included, maybe the long comb, maybe the short comb, you'd have to see. Where a Gillette New was included in a set of maybe super speeds. Maybe somebody throws in, people love to throw in those Valet auto strops, right? Because nobody uses those anymore. Or the Christie razors, those kind of things. And maybe a tech or two, and all for like $25, and this guy is in there. So firm hold on the blade. Seems to have a little bit less exposure. Less harshness than the long comb, at least to my face it does. I look forward to trying it tomorrow with the laser etched Astra Superior Platinum, and it gave me this comfortable shave for while the blade here is now on its 10th use. Yeah, this is the 10th use. If I forgot to put in a dot, then that means it's on the 11th use. So, but I think it's current. All right. Very nice. It seems that the B13 from Declaration Grooming here, about a 26 millimeter knot here. You can see it's kind of got a big bloom. It seems to be getting nicer and nicer, softer on my face, the tips, and a nice, easy splay as I was working it today. So continuing to really enjoy that, perhaps even, no, I should say, increasing in my enjoyment of it as the uses go in. And I'm only several uses into it, so I think it's probably going to get a little better than that. So very, very good on the brush front as well. So with this short comb razor, I wouldn't call it smooth necessarily, because it definitely has a little bit of an edge feel. But it, like so many others, like from Carve or perhaps Wolfman, Fatip, the edge is held so well that it feels controlled. It feels secure. You feel confident. I'm sure I could cut myself if I just really did some poor technique, you know. But it's kind of neat. Sometimes when you have a razor that gives you a little edge feel, but does it in such a predictable, confidence-inspiring way, then that's a wonderful combination, almost better than being smooth, because you feel like, hey, I've shaved. You know, sometimes if it's too smooth, you walk away thinking, well, I shaved. But then when you know that that edge is there, and it's handled well, I don't know, it just increases the feeling for me somehow a little bit. So it seems, first impression after this, on this short comb, after quite a few year hiatus of not using it, is that I could use this on a daily basis. I would not want to use the long comb on a daily basis because of the slight irritation I had at the end. That irritation did go away, and so I could use it if I wanted to daily. But this one didn't leave me with anything. I just got a nice close cut, right? I'm assuming. Oh yeah. Yeah, very nice cut. Very good close one. So this is just another example of a tremendous razor that has been around for decades, and is doing a great job. I mean, really, this is a lot better than I thought it was. I think what was happening was, in the beginning, my technique just wasn't in place to be able to enjoy that razor properly for what it's worth. And now it's really a nice enjoyable razor. The new Deluxe is a smoother razor while cutting pretty much just as closely, and so I might prefer that one in general. But really, this is just a common little razor that's available. The new Deluxe costs a little bit of money because they're more rare, but this guy, dime a dozen. Wait, that's the long comb. The short comb here, easily obtainable, nice firm feel, efficient, surely efficient enough for just about anybody. If you truly have sensitive skin, then it might have a little more blade exposure, blade harshness. It's not harsh. It might have a little bit too much exposure there for you. But if you wanted to try it, it's pretty inexpensive to try because they're so easy to get. And yes, this is that typical size where you could replace the handle with anything out there. Here's a Wolfman handle I happen to have nearby. So a spare handle from a place like Maggard or West Coast Shaving or something like that is going to be just fine, in case the hollow bar handle here, in case that weight distribution is not something that you like. So a flexible piece for sure. I definitely think I'll use it more. It deserves that much attention. It deserves that recognition for all of its great qualities. I think we're good. What a terrific shave. I'm going to enjoy this smell. And, I've told you all the good things that I liked about the soap and the brush and the razor. The 10th use of the blade, wonderful. Close cut, comfortable. Really, it doesn't need to be bent anytime soon. All right, guys, take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Hope there's something in this video to help you out in your shaving journey. Good night.